Hey, this is James with XDHS 2000. Today we're going to be making a series of videos showing the Springfield Armory XDS Slim Series pistol, the new pistol from Springfield Armory. And what we're going to be doing is focusing on detailed disassembling this pistol, actually showing some of the tips and tricks on how to get this pistol apart and make your life a heck of a lot easier, and as well as getting the thing back together and making sure it works properly. And the first thing that we got to do to get this gun apart is field strip it. To field strip this pistol, it's a safety feature. You have to remove the magazine. You cannot rotate the disassembly lever until that magazine is removed. So first thing we're going to do is remove that magazine. And we got our safety trainer in there. No live ammo on the bench at all while we're working on any firearm. We'll go ahead and set that to the side. And then we're going to go ahead and check our chamber and make sure it is actually unloaded as well. So what I'm going to do is rack the slide back hard, and you see that the bullet would have fallen out. Let's go ahead and remove the ammo from the bench, and now we're going to look in the chamber, and as you can see, I could put my finger in there just to make absolutely sure this firearm is unloaded. Next, what we're going to do with the slide locked in the back position, we're going to rotate that disassembly lever up just like that towards the XDS logo. Once we have that disassembly lever in the up position, we're going to go ahead and release our slide. And then, now the slide won't come off. Now what we have to do is point it in a safe direction. We're going to have to pull the trigger of this pistol. So point it in a safe direction, we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger. And once we've got the trigger off, that slide will just come right off. And so now you have the pistol split into two different assemblies. You got the frame assembly and the slide assembly. We're going to go ahead and set the frame aside for a second, and we're going to go ahead and focus on the slide. To field strip the slide, what we're going to do is take the recoil assembly out and set that aside. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the barrel and pull that out. And this is actually all Springfield Armory from the factory recommends that you take your pistol apart for normal everyday maintenance. What you would have is the slide, the barrel, the recoil assembly, and the frame in there. And for most people, for general maintenance, this is all that they would need to take this pistol apart and get it back together for cleaning and making sure it works. Alright, now that we got our Springfield Armory XDS pistol field stripped, we're going to go ahead and focus on the slide and getting it detailed disassembled. And what we have our slide resting here is an armorer's cup that we designed. Basically, it's got the hole in the middle and some holes all the way around it and a little ledge that we could actually use to hold the pistol and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. It makes your life a lot easier. And the first thing that we're going to be focusing on is the back area right here, and on the very back of the pistol. And as you notice, there is a little detent right there. What we got to do is push that detent in, and we'll set our pistol here, and we'll take a little small screwdriver, and watch this. All we do is push it in, and that back plate will just fall right off. Once that back plate is off, we'll go ahead and set that to the side. We could flip the pistol over, and now we can pull the whole striker assembly right out of the pistol. And now everything that's in our striker channel that's in here is actually taken apart. The next step that we're going to do is take off our loaded chamber indicator, this portion that's on the very top that actually moves and shows you when the chamber is full. And how we remove that, now let me actually make a note of this. This pin that's on here, the loaded chamber indicator pin, runs across the pistol kind of just like that in these holes. Now you want to make sure every time you take that pin out, you want to drive that pin from this direction out to this direction. Always, 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 always please remember that, because if anybody works on your pistol at a later time and tries to take that pin out and you've done it in the wrong direction, you could actually mushroom that pin. And all I'm doing is taking a 1/16 punch, sitting it right in that hole in there, and then what I'm going to do is take just a little bitty ball peen hammer and just tap it right down. Now, one of the things that I want to show you about this pin is that one side actually has a little detent on it, and it's really hard to see, but if you look at your pin in real life, one side will have a little ping in it. And what this does is it's in there, and that little ping kind of holds itself in the slide. When you put this pistol back together, the slide, you want to make sure that that little deformed area goes in last. So when you put it back together, you want to go from this direction and push it in, but make sure that deformed area is the last part to go in. If you try to put that deformed area in first, it could get stuck in the slide, and you'll have to drill that pin out, and that's not fun, let me tell you that. So now that we've got our pin removed, I'm going to use the punch to slowly put my finger over it. And now I'm going to take out the loaded chamber indicator. And then real small in there, can you barely see it? I'm going to take the punch and kind of just pull that little bitty spring out. Do you see that little bitty spring? We're going to go ahead and sit it right there. So now we have the three parts for our loaded chamber indicator. The loaded chamber indicator, loaded chamber indicator spring, loaded chamber indicator pin. And we'll go ahead and set those aside now. The next thing we're going to remove is the extractor. Now let me tell you about the extractor. The extractor actually holds in the safety that's on the bottom. See that little safety right there that's moving in and out? So when you have to be careful, as soon as that extractor comes out and is loose, that little safety that's on the bottom right here, that little bitty one, will want to go flying out. So you want to make sure when you take this that part off, you put your finger underneath so it doesn't go flying. So now what I'm going to do is take our armorer's cup again, and I'm going to start with the back the underside of the slide, because the hole on the bottom is smaller than the one that's on the top, and there's a roll pin in there. So what you want to do is, I'm going to try to show it right behind this safety. You'll see the bottom of the roll pin. We're going to take again a 1/16 inch size punch, center it right in there on that roll pin, and now I'm going to take my hammer, and notice it doesn't take much force at all. I'm going to leave the punch in there to hold all our parts together. And now we have our little roll pin. Alright, let's set the roll pin aside. Okay, how I like to do this is use my thumb to put pressure down and pull that out. Now put my finger right under here, under that safety, and slowly release all the parts. See how that kind of just slid out and it didn't go flying on me? That's actually a good thing. So now we will go ahead and pull our safety and our spring. We got those set to the side. Don't lose those. Now we got our extractor in there. Now to get this out, just slowly pick it up and rotate it. Now you can't pull it out of the pistol, you got to rotate up and forward and it'll come right out. And that's how it's actually held in there. That's why it's important that you got to keep both parts together. Alright, let's go ahead and set our extractor to the side. And then now you'll notice we got our spring in there. And we have a little green polyurethane rubber piece that's in there. Don't lose that either, because it actually fits inside of that spring. And we're not going to remove the sights today on this pistol. One, because it requires a lot of work and that's really hard to film. But for all intents and purposes, our slide is 100% disassembled, minus the sights. The sights are still on there, but everything else is on there. So if you ever had to change that spring, you ever had to change the safety spring in there to install a trigger kit, that's how you get that pistol apart. Alright, now we are going to work on the Springfield Armory XDS striker assembly. To get the striker assembly apart, we have a bench block that you could actually order from Brunel's. This actually will help you a lot and makes your life a lot easier, but you could easily make one of these out of a piece of wood or a piece of plastic, anything you have that you could drill a hole in there. Basically all you're doing is you're using a hole, and the sleeve portion of the striker will fit right in there, but if you notice, the leg doesn't. What this does is create a third hand for you, makes it a lot easier to take it apart, and I'm going to try to angle it and show you what we have to do. Alright, what we have to do to get this striker assembly apart is compress the spring down and take that sleeve off. You have to be extremely careful. Please wear glasses when you're doing this. You may even want to do it inside a Ziploc baggie. Set this whole assembly inside a Ziploc baggie, and then when you take it apart, if a piece does go flying, you'll be able to keep it without it being lost forever. We're going to attempt this live on the video, and let's see if we can do it. Basically, with this third hand, we've got it locked into place, and what I'm going to do is grab the very tip of it and push it down, and then take that collar off, and then slowly release the tension on the striker. Now, pull the striker spring off. Now, did you see that? That was really easy. To get it back together, all you're going to do is compress it, and then take that sleeve, put it right back in there. Now, can you imagine doing that without something to help hold all the assembly together? That gets kind of scary. You could easily lose that part. Alright, so we got our sleeve back out, our striker spring off, and then we're going to go ahead and just remove that plastic sleeve. And there's all four pieces to our striker assembly. That easy.